Once upon a time, in a small village in Africa, there lived two sisters named Adaeze and Ngozi. Adaeze was the older sister, and Ngozi was the younger one. Adaeze was clever and skilled at many things. She loved to weave beautiful baskets and sing songs while she walked. Ngozi, on the other hand, was always watching her sister closely. Whatever Adaeze did, Ngozi would try to copy. It started with simple things like wearing the same clothes and hairstyles as Adaeze. But soon, Ngozi began imitating everything her sister did, even the way she spoke and walked. At first, Adaeze found it amusing. She thought it was cute that her little sister wanted to be just like her. But as time went on, it started to bother her. She felt like she had no space of her own, like a shadow always following her. One day, Adaeze decided to confront Ngozi about it. "Why do you always copy everything I do?" she asked, feeling frustrated. Ngozi looked innocent. "I don't know what you're talking about, sister. I'm just being me," she replied with a smile. But Adaeze knew better. She could see the truth in her sister's eyes. Ngozi was indeed copying her, but she refused to admit it. One sunny morning, as Adaeze went to the village market, she noticed something strange. Everywhere she turned, she saw Ngozi following closely behind, wearing the exact same clothes and even trying to mimic her actions. As Adaeze walked through the market, her friends couldn't help but notice them. They looked at each other and chuckled quietly. Adaeze's cheeks flushed with embarrassment as she realized that everyone was staring at her and Ngozi. To make matters worse, the man Adaeze had a crush on was also at the market that day. He looked at them, confused to see the two sisters dressed the same way. Adaeze felt a mixture of humiliation and frustration bubbling inside her. She wanted to disappear into thin air to escape the stares and whispers of the villagers. How could Ngozi embarrass her like this in front of everyone, especially in front of the man she liked? She wanted to shout at Ngozi and ask to stop copying her. But instead, she took a deep breath and tried to ignore her sister's presence. When they returned home, Adaeze decided to have a serious talk with Ngozi. Sitting her sister down, she spoke gently but firmly. "Ngozi, I need to talk to you about something important," Adaeze began. "I've noticed that you've been copying me a lot lately, and it's making me feel uncomfortable. Can you please try to be your own person instead of trying to be like me?" "I'm sorry, sister, if you feel this way. I don't even notice. I try my best," Ngozi said. Despite Ngozi's promise, she continued copying her sister. Adaeze said nothing and continued to weave baskets and sing songs, hoping that Ngozi would eventually find her own interests and hobbies. But as time went on, Adaeze noticed that Ngozi's imitation was becoming more. Not only did she copy her actions, but she also started mimicking her words and thoughts. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Adaeze couldn't hold back her frustration any longer. "Ngozi, why do you keep copying me?" she shouted. Ngozi looked up, her eyes wide with surprise. "I'm not copying you, sis. I'm just trying to learn from you," she replied innocently. But Adaeze didn't believe her. Her sister was a copycat. One day, Adaeze woke up early and set out to the riverbank. She spent the entire day weaving the most beautiful basket she had ever made, pouring all her heart and soul into her work. When she returned home, Adaeze proudly showed off her creation to her family. Everyone admired her handiwork, including Ngozi, who couldn't help but look impressed. As Adaeze enjoyed the praise, she noticed something strange. Ngozi had disappeared, and when she returned, she was carrying a basket that looked almost similar to Adaeze. Adaeze's heart sank as she realized that Ngozi had copied her once again. Anger boiled inside her, and she decided to do something about this. Determined to make Ngozi realize the impact of her actions, Adaeze came up with a plan. She decided to play a trick on her sister to show her how it feels to be copied all the time. The next day, Adaeze pretended to have a secret. "I'm going to pick some special berries from the forest," she whispered to her family, making sure Ngozi could hear. Excited by the idea of a secret adventure, Ngozi begged to come along. But Adaeze shook her head. "No, this is something I must do alone," she said mysteriously. Hours passed, and Ngozi grew impatient. Unable to resist her curiosity any longer, she decided to follow her sister into the forest. But as she wandered deeper into the woods, Ngozi realized that she had lost track of Adaeze. Panic set in as she realized that she was all alone in the vast forest. Meanwhile, Adaeze watched from a hiding spot, feeling a pang of guilt for tricking her sister. She hadn't meant for things to go this far, and now she was worried about Ngozi's safety. As night fell and Ngozi still hadn't returned, Adaeze knew she had to find her sister. She set out into the forest, calling out Ngozi's name with every step. Finally, just as Adaeze was about to give up hope, she heard a faint cry in the distance. Following the sound, she found Ngozi sitting alone, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry, Ngozi. I never meant for things to go this far," Adaeze apologized, feeling guilty for what she had done. Ngozi looked up at her sister, her eyes filled with fear and confusion. "Why did you trick me, Adaeze? I thought you were my friend," she whispered. Ngozi wiped her tears and looked at her sister. "Adaeze, I copy you because I admire you so much. I want to be like you because you're smart and talented. But I realize now that copying you isn't the right way to show it. I'm sorry for making you upset." Adaeze smiled and hugged her sister tightly. "You don't need to copy me to be amazing, Ngozi. You have your own talents and strengths." Adaeze felt a mixture of relief and regret. She hugged her sister tightly. "Ngozi, I'm sorry too. I didn't realize how much my actions hurt you. I shouldn't have tricked you like that. From now on, let's promise to be honest with each other and appreciate our differences." And so, as they walked back home together, Adaeze and Ngozi made a promise to always be honest with each other and appreciate their differences. They knew that their bond as sisters was stronger than any disagreement, and they vowed to cherish it forever.